What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So we don't really have that much in companies putting out their earnings this week. The big one, in my opinion, is going to be Thursday morning. That's going to be Walmart. We've seen it really move the market in the past. So depending on the top and bottom line and the future guidance, there's going to be some level of insight to how consumers have been. So that's going to be the big one for this week. But aside from that, it is going to be largely linked to data. So market is closed today. I'm sure you're well aware of that at this stage in the game. So it is a shorter week, but tomorrow we do have ADP weekly. Previous was 6,500. So that's going to be something that the market really does look at because the last several kind of issuances hasn't been the greatest. So again, 6,500 was the last. Wednesday is going to be one of the two big days in the market. So Wednesday we have building permits, housing starts, mortgage applications, mortgage market index, and then later in the afternoon, FOMC minutes. So again, that'll be giving some insight to what members are thinking for rate cuts. Last minutes that did come out, market didn't like because it showed a lot of inconsistency. Hopefully this time around, given all the data, we could be having them lean more towards rate cuts, and then that might hype up the broader market. Thursday, we do have a couple of Fed speakers. Philly manufacturing, initial jobless claims. Friday is going to be that other big data point day, and that's going to be because of PCE and GDP. So a lot of good opportunity for the market to kind of move higher. One thing that kind of did come up over the weekend was a little bit more increased in tensions, geopolitical issues between the States and Israel and Iran. So that might potentially impact Tuesday a little bit. So just something to kind of be aware of. But specific to Lucid, the only thing that they have coming up for things is the Canadian International Auto Show. So not really anything crazy. So that's going to be up until February the 22nd. So nothing else is really listed on Lucid's website. One thing did come out that I wanted to share with you, and that is this. So Lucid exec says upcoming midsize SUV is a little bit ahead of schedule. So good stuff. I kind of read through this. Doesn't actually give like a time frame. It's still end of the year type of thing. But as long as they can hit that, I feel like that would be making 2026 a pretty good year overall. Midsize is going to be the big deal for Lucid and hopefully their path to profitability. And then speaking of profitability, we did get this. So these are the questions from retail to management for Lucid's upcoming earnings. This actually did open on February the 10th. I didn't bring this up in previous videos because, in all honesty, they've sucked. And so this is kind of the first time I'm actually looking at it. So the first question by Miguel, no, sorry, Miguel, to kind of call you out, but this is a horrible actual question. It clearly is just a disgruntled shareholder. How much longer until Lucid starts making money? Like, how would you expect people to answer that? Aside from that one kind of dumb question, the rest of them are pretty on point if you think about it. So Lucid typically does kind of answer about 3 to 5 questions, depending on how bad they kind of feel bad for us. But you did have the second question. Will Lucid earn ongoing revenue through his partnership with Uber/Nuro, such as fleet maintenance services, software licensing, and so forth? Very good question. So that's something that will give some insight and hopefully add some extra revenue estimates for maybe an ongoing basis after that. The other question, what is the clearest path to positive gross margins, and when do you realistically expect to get there? Very well worded. That is another kind of good question. So hopefully they're able to actually answer a lot of these. And then this one right here, normally in the past, I always I'm skeptical about a lot of things, and I've always not liked to see back-to-back questions being posed by the same individual. To me, let alone 3, so you can kind of see the same individual has 3 back-to-back questions. I've kind of alluded to how Lucid maybe kind of just has their own employees put their things in there, and then you have Lucid employees or whatever voting these up, because the chances of this Martina to actually have 3 questions posed, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. But nonetheless, they're pretty okay questions. So this one was good. This one right here, what is the biggest constraint on deliveries right now? Demand, production, capacity, or logistics? So in all fairness, even if that is a Lucid employee, which technically I don't have any proof of, just speculation, very good question, I think, overall. So, and then this last one right here, do you see Lucid remaining a premium only brand or eventually going mass market? When should Lucid investors expect a more affordable Lucid model, and what price segment are you targeting? So honestly, Martina definitely is deserving of a round of applause. All three questions very on point. So yeah, that's, if we get some of these answers, with the exception of Miguel's question, I'd be pretty satisfied based on that. Going into this upcoming week, we have about 32.51% of the free float being shorted, works out to be 42.3 million shares overall being shorted. So kind of crazy stuff. Shorts are still making up for a good about 40% of the daily volume, so kind of crazy for that. DTC 5.9 days does signal that shorts are relatively overextended. From a option standpoint, you see from the bulls that it'll recover to about 10.50 to 11. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of between 9.50 and 10. So definitely interesting stuff. So polar opposites could go in either direction. But currently, looking at the options for their earnings, there is a 14.62% expected move, and that's roughly $1.50 in either direction. So for those of you that are kind of playing Lucid's earnings through options, let me know. Are you buying calls? Are you a little bit more bearish? Are you hedging? What are you generally doing? Aside from that, with it closing on Friday at 10.28, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So it is at a key point right now. 988 is going to be that next strong support, and then 1048 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So next week is going to be kind of a good foundation for the following week, which will be their earnings. And as what we saw with Rivian's earnings, like if Lucid does give good future guidance, like it could go up very, very fast, a lot more than what is currently expected. So it's all going to come down to guidance, in my opinion, for Lucid's case. Aside from all of that, on the actual chart itself, it's okay, somewhat, take that with a grain of salt. So it is kind of been flirting with that 10-day moving average, largely just at the mercy of the broader market. But if it is able to get above that 50-day moving average, we have seen typically Lucid go up about 30%, give or take. That's usually what does happen. So that right now is sitting at 11.31. So that's that 50-day moving average. And then potentially, based on that expected move from Lucid's earnings, we could be touching that 100-day moving average, or regrettably starting to kind of go down a lot more than what we have gone through. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. I know a lot of people have been complaining about Lucid, but in all fairness, a lot of growth stocks during this time period have gone down like 30 to 50%. So during this time frame, yes, Lucid did go down about maybe 15-20%, but still Lucid's doing a lot better than kind of a lot of other speculative stocks. But aside from that, there really hasn't been that much in new analyst ratings. So last one did come out on January the 13th. That was RBC, downgrade, cut their price target from 20 down to 14. And last time RBC did give a rating, it was right after the reverse stock split. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. Where do you see things going? Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you generally doing? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.